Hey folks, Mrmathblog here, and this lesson is compare and order integers. Don't forget all your lessons can be found at Mrmathblog.com. Let's go to that site real quick. I do this about every other video or so. So we're in 6th grade, so we're going to pick this link. There's two 6th grade links. I teach in California. So that's this link right here. So what your link is this one right here. So just pick the other 6th grade link right there, and it'll go right down here underneath this lesson 3.1. All right, let's go ahead and get started with this. Okay, so there's our Common Core strand for our teachers. And our question here is, how can we compare and order integers? So we're going to use number lines in this. So Mr. Flukiger, he's a principal, and he asked his students to compare the two numbers, -7 and -4. All right, so what we're going to do is use a number line to compare these numbers. So let's go ahead and graph -7 and -4. So we'll put a dot right there on -7 and a dot right there on -4. Okay, it's important to be able to know where they are located on the number line so we can see which one is bigger than the other. Okay, so we're going to notice the locations right here. Can you see -7 is to the left and -4 is to the right here? Negatives kind of work backwards when you're talking about greater than numbers right here. So on a number line, as you move to the right, the values become greater. So, and as you move to the left, the values become less. Okay, so we got to see which one's to the left and which one's to the right. Okay, so it says here -7 is to the blank of -4. Okay, -7 is on the left-hand side of -4. So if it's to the left, then -7 is going to be less than -4. Okay, and that's the trick. We just got to put the numbers on the number line and see which one is to the left of the other. Okay, so let's try this. Use the number line again, and we'll compare the numbers. So we'll put a dot on 4 over here, and then a dot on -8 right here, and then we just got to see which one is to the right or to the left. Okay, so here this one's kind of backwards. It says 4 is to the blank of 8. Okay, 4 is over here, it's to the right of 8. So since it's to the right of 8, it's going to be greater than, because the farther you go to the right, the greater the numbers will be. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and put a dot on -3. Okay, so -3 and 0. Now my students, they see this and they see these directions and they think, oh, this is easy, and then they skip the graphing part. So it's important, you guys, to graph these numbers first. So if you were in my class, I would require you guys to make a number line and to graph these numbers. And I bet you your teachers are going to ask you to do that also. So we'll put a graph, a point at -3 and a point at 0 right there. Okay, there we go. And then it says blank is to the left of blank. Okay, so -3 is to the left of 0 right there. So that means -3 is going to be, since it's to the left, it's going to be less than 0 right there. Okay. All right, so explain how we know that -2 is less than 0 without using a number line. Oh, well, no problem. So all negative numbers are always less than 0. Okay, that's easy. And all positive numbers are always greater than 0. Okay, and so we can use vertical number lines to order integers also. And as we go up on the vertical number line, the numbers get greater. You can hear my air conditioner going, turning off. It's a hot August day here in Sacramento. Anyway, so the higher the numbers are, the greater so as we go up on a vertical number line, so vertical is up and down, so as we go up on a vertical, they get greater, and as we go down, they get less than. And these are typically for thermometer or temperature kind of things. So here's a thermometer that we can use vertical number lines. Okay, so and here in the United States, you guys, we use Fahrenheit to most of the time to calculate our temperature. So 0 degrees Fahrenheit means it's really cold outside, and 100 degrees means it's pretty hot. So we get several 100-degree days here in Sacramento. So in Celsius, though, 0 degrees is chilly, and 100 degrees, you wouldn't be able to be surviving there. So anyway, so we usually use Fahrenheit in the United States. All right, so here this table gives the cold temperatures that were recorded in 7 cities in the United States, okay, in 2015. So here in Truckee, California, Truckee's up in the high Sierras. It's about 7,000 feet in elevation, maybe a little bit higher than that. So a cold temperature on a certain day was negative 17 degrees, and then in Davis, Idaho was 7. In Tan Oaks, Minnesota was negative 25. Miami. So Miami's a beach in Florida, or a beach town in Florida. So it's typically sunny and warm there. So 35 degrees, that was their cold temperature. In Pinto, and that's pretty cold for Miami. And then Pinto, Tennessee is 18, and Earle, Pennsylvania, it's at negative 5. All right, so let's go ahead and order the temperatures from least to greatest, okay? So we're going to go ahead and plot these points. So let's go ahead and plot negative 17. So here's 0 right here. So down, when we go down, it's negative. So they're going by 5. So here's negative 5, negative 10, negative 15, negative 20. So negative 17 is probably going to be fitting right about there. Okay, so we're going to draw a dot on the number line to represent the temperatures of each day, and we'll write the first letters of the city, or letters for like Tan Oaks. We'll do TO for Tan Oaks besides the dot right there. Okay, so here's Truckee right there at negative 17. So T for Truckee. Okay, Davis, Idaho is at 7, so here's 0, here's 5, so 7 is going to be right about there. Okay, and then Tan Oaks is at negative 25, so here's negative 20, so negative 25 would be right about there, so we'll put a TA there for Tan Oaks, okay, or TO, sorry. And then Miami's at positive 35, so it's going to be way up here, so that's going to be the biggest number right there. Pinto's at 18, and Earle's at negative 5 right there, okay? All right, so now we'll write the temperatures in order from least to greatest and explain how we determine the order. So least to greatest means we start at the bottom of this and we just start going up. So this is the smallest number. Okay, negatives kind of work backwards. So this is negative 25 degrees Fahrenheit. So we'll write that number first, and then we'll write this for Truckee, which is negative 17. Earle is at negative 5. So it's hard to see them when they're written like this, you guys. It's much easier to see if we put them on a number line, okay? And this is a vertical number line. So there they are. So by listing the orders as they appear, from the bottom to the top, it tells us which numbers are in order from the least to the greatest, okay? All right, so here we go. So which city had the colder temperature, Pinto or Earle? And explain, how do we know this, okay? So here's Pinto right here, here's Earle right here. So which one had the colder temperature? The one that's lower on this number line right here. So Earle is negative 5 below, and negative 5 is below 18 on the number line, so negative 5 is colder than 18 degrees, okay? So which city had the warmest temperature, and how do we know? Well, that's the one way up here, okay? So it's going to be Miami up there, and we know that because it's the highest number on the number chart right there. And so what are the temperatures for Davis, Pinto, and Earle in order from least to greatest, okay? So Davis is 7, Pinto is 18, and Earle is negative 5. Okay, so when we graph those right there, here they are right here. So here's negative 5. Here's that 7 right here for Davis, and then Pinto was at 18. So that's these three numbers right here. And then it says order them from least to greatest. So from least to greatest, we start at the bottom number and then work up. So this Earle is going to be the negative 5, so that's what's going to go here. Okay, and then Davis right here, Davis is going to be the 7, and finally Pinto is going to be that 18 right there, okay? So there we go right there, okay? Let's do one more of these. Now this one says, what are the temperatures for Truckee, Tan Oaks, and Miami in order? Now be careful, this one says from greatest to least, so the arrows point the other way. So this is going to be the biggest number right here. So we're focusing on Truckee, Tan Oaks, and Miami. Okay, so we're looking at these three numbers right here. So we'll highlight negative 17 for that one right there, and then we'll highlight negative 25 for that one, and then Miami is going to be 35 right up there. So when we highlight those, then we want to know which one is the biggest to the smallest, okay? So the biggest is Miami, and then we have Truckee, and then we have Tan Oaks right there, okay? All right, so there's Miami, and then Truckee, and then Tan Oaks right there. Okay, so remember, you guys, the symbol when it's pointing to the left means less than, and when it's pointing to the right means greater than. So 35 is greater than negative 17, and it's kind of backwards, you guys. Negatives work backwards. Negative 17 is greater than negative 25. Okay. All right, so what rule can we use to compare numbers on a vertical number line? Well, that's pretty easy. So values become greater as we move up on the vertical number line, and they become less as we move down on the vertical number line. Okay, you guys. All right, Mr. Flukiger says he liked this video, and take care, you guys.